Hello, everyone. This is Marianella Manzur. I'm the Vice President here at Joorney Business Plans. And today we are going to cover a webinar topic that's called Differences between US and Canada Business Immigration. So during this webinar, we're planning to speak about the different types of programs that each of the countries have regarding business immigration and mention a few similarities and differences between them. This is my contact information. I am the Vice President here at Joorney Business Plans, and you can reach out to me either by email or by phone. So starting off regarding the business immigration for the US, all of the programs in the US are considered federal. However, in Canada, you do have different programs. So you have the federal programs and you have programs that are developed per province. So when we talk about the federal programs, both in the US and in Canada, we find a few similarities in some of the programs. So what we call in the US the E2 or investor visa is very similar to what Canada has as the LMIA owner-operator. So basically what these visas or programs are looking for is for investors to be able to establish a new company or purchase an existing one where they can basically hire themselves as managers and be able to create jobs throughout time. Regarding the US L1 visa, it's very similar to the ICT or intra-company transfer visa or program in Canada. Basically, what these visas or programs are trying to do is have foreign companies establish a US or Canadian office. And they want to bring in a transferee in order for them to be able to establish more successfully the operation either in the US or in Canada. These are going to be managerial or executive positions. So they are very similar programs. The L1 and the ICT are basically both intra-company transferee visas. So aside from these that we mentioned here, we also have a few other federal programs in Canada, such as the self-employed persons, the startup visa, as well as some of the federal programs in the US, as for example, the EB-5. We're not going to cover them in this webinar. However, we have mentioned two of them. One is the E2, that is similar to the owner-operator, and the other one is the US L1 visa, that's similar to the Canadian ICT. So as I was saying, in the US, the programs are all on a federal basis. In Canada, it's a different issue with the programs. Basically, there are programs that are called PNPs, that are called Provincial Nominee programs, that are varied depending on each of the provinces. So depending on the geographic location, each of the business immigration programs is suited for that specific province depending on what they want to encourage people to establish within that province. Like we said before, this is something that we do not see in the US because the requirements for the programs or the visas that we mentioned are the same in all of the states. Usually for Canada, there are some provinces, especially the PNPs, that have a two-step process, if we may. First of all, you need to submit an expression of interest to be approved in order to apply. And some of the provinces will need a business concept attached to that expression of interest, explaining what the intention of the business is going to be. And then once that expression of interest is submitted, the applicant must wait for an approval in order to get an ITA or an invitation to apply, which is the moment where the application will start. And most of the times a business plan is required at the time. If it is not approved, which is also an option for the expression of interest, it is going to be necessary for the expression of interest to be resubmitted. Okay? So that is something that in the US we do not see. So it is something very specific to Canada and mostly for the PNPs. The provinces that have this in Canada are going to be British Columbia, New Brunswick, Ontario, and Manitoba. When we talk about what message the business plans need to convey, there are a lot of similarities between the US and Canada. Both of US and Canada immigration focus on the investment and also on the job creation. They want to make sure that companies are established or purchased in order to maintain or grow job creation throughout time. So they both want to show that the investor is serious in establishing the company and the project, making the project become a reality. And they also want to see positive tax revenues in order to show that there will be employment and there will be an economic impact as well. For Canada, it's important that the business plan shows specifically the benefit that that business is going to provide to the specific province that they are applying to. So different than what we see from the US, that it's a nationwide economic benefit that they look to see. In Canada, since some of the programs are provincial, it's important to show specifically what is the benefit that it's bringing to that location. So overall, we see that there are many similarities and differences between US and Canada. Mostly the differences are about the process and some of the requirements. We see that there are programs that are similar, E2s to LMIA owner-operators and L1s to ICTs or intercompany transfers. And as we saw, US has federal programs or nationwide programs that are covered across the states, while in Canada we also have programs that are province specific. In both cases, however, the key is always to highlight within the business plans the purpose of the projects, the objectives, the importance of the job creations, and the impact that they will bring to each country, either to all the country as a whole or by province. Thank you for listening. This is our webinar regarding US and Canada business immigration differences. We hope you've enjoyed it, and please don't hesitate to contact me if you need any additional information or have any questions. We are always here for you.